So 250 is going to be maximum size of Rajya Sabha. Out of that 250, right, 5 seats has been reserved for POK, Pakistan. We cannot leave our claim over POK, right? So this 5 seats has been kept reserved for the POK. So as and when we'll have the POK, right, these 5 seats will be transferred to that area. So if you are increasing Lok Sabha seats in this manner on the basis of population, what you are essentially doing is that you are incentivizing the population increase, right? बिहार ने ज़्यादा population add किया, right? तो आपने ज़्यादा लोकसभा में रिप्रेजेंटेशन दे दिया. केरला ने कम किया तो केरला को आपने डिसइंसेंटिवाइज किया. Similarly, here as well, there are 2 sets of ground on which a member of parliament can be disqualified. One set of ground has been mentioned in Constitution. Another set of ground has been mentioned in Representation of People Act 1951. Hello everyone. So in this video we are going to discuss one of the most important chapter of Indian polity, that is Parliament. Why I am saying that it is going to be one of the most important chapter as far as your Indian polity preparation is concerned for UPSC pre and mains both. Let us have a look at the data. So on the screen that you do have a chapter wise breakup of the number of questions that has been asked in previous 10 years as far as your UPSC prelim is concerned. So if you could see on the bottom of the screen, in last 10 years there have been more than 100 questions that has been asked in UPSC prelim from Indian polity, and rather to be very specific, 119 question has been asked in past 10 years from Indian polity. Now let us look at the chapter wise breakup. So most number of question, if you could see, most number of question has been asked from the parliament section. If you allow me to club this parliament 23 question with the union government chapter, right, 23 question from the parliament and 13 question from the union government, right, so it will translate into 36 question, right. Total question that has been asked in past 10 years is 119, and total number of questions that has been asked from this chapter, that is parliament plus union government, is 36, and if my maths is correct, it would translate again into somewhere 30 or 31%. That is why I was saying that this chapter is going to be most crucial and most important, and this chapter will entail around 6 to 7 hours, and that's why videos that you will get, right, it will not be one video, at least 4 or 5 videos will be of 1 or 1.5 hour each, right. So the next important chapter is going to be union judiciary, and union judiciary means Supreme Court. So this is in part 3 itself, part 3 of Lakshmikant, right. So 11 questions have been asked from part 3 itself, that translate into 1 question every year. Thereafter the next important chapter is going to be DPSP, that is Directive Principles of the State Policy. Again 11 question has been asked, that translate into 9% of that 190 questions, right. So 1 question every year from the DPSP as well. The next important chapter, if I could see, that was Panchayati Raj. Where is this Panchayati Raj, right? Local government. So 9 question has been asked. So here as well the average is 1 question almost every year. And similarly you can place the cost benefit. So fundamental right is equally important, right? So every alternate year you have 1 or 2 question from fundamental right as well, right? Then GK type question you have 6 question, and this is how the number of question have varied, although I do not guarantee that this will remain pattern, but yes, last 10 years if we are taking the data, we can think of ki haan kuch hai, substance hai, right. As far as the other chapters are concerned, where 1 question has been asked, emergency provision, only 1 question has been asked, right. That does not mean, when I am attaching that yes 30% of the question is being asked from only 1 chapter, right, and there is 1 chapter where only 1 question has been asked in previous 7 or 8 years, right, that does not mean that these chapters are going to be less important. See, you are not appearing for any college exam where you can afford to ignore any of the single chapter. Here every question marks and every unattempted or every wrongly attempted question can cost you 1 attempt, right. So I am not saying by emphasizing on these chapters like parliament or Panchayati Raj or directive principles of the state policy or fundamental right or Supreme Court, by emphasizing on these chapters I am in no way saying you to ignore this amendment chapter, saying you to ignore this election chapter, urging you to ignore preamble or system of government, right. all the chapters are equally important. It's just that on these section, that is parliament, union government, directive principle of the state policy, fundamental, you need to spend more times as compared to this. So that was my only point. I am again placing this caveat that you need not to ignore any of the chapter that has been given in Indian polity. And if I do a comparison of Indian polity with other subjects like geography, with economy, this Indian polity you would have seen in daily life as well. If I eliminate one chapter, that is fundamental right, and to some extent DPSP, that is in your part 1 of the Lakshmikant. So these chapters you may not have seen in your daily life, but as far as the state government, how does election happen, how CM is chosen, how PM is chosen, what is the cabinet minister, right, all these things we would have seen, right. We already are graduates. Most of you who are watching these videos, most of you who are appearing for this exam are already graduates. You would have seen the news from last 7 or 8 years, right. So you would be aware that yes, how this assembly election happens, what is this first past post system. When we see, we already have seen that first part because we have participated in voting process, right. So these chapters, as far as this parliament, that is central government portion or state government portion, union government, right, all these things we have done, Panchayati Raj concept. So what is the underlying reason behind this establishment of Panchayati Raj? What would have been idea to strengthen the roots of democracy? So all these things we already, means basic knowledge, we just need to be specific. The only difficult chapters are fundamental right in Indian polity and DPSP, which we may not have come across, right. So only these chapter you need to emphasize much, right. Otherwise, comparing Indian polity with other subjects like geography, right, economics, those are very conceptual subjects, right. So as far as comparison from other subject is concerned, Indian polity is very easy, right, except these two chapters. So this was about your prelims exam. If you allow me to show you the number of questions that has been asked in previous 3 years in mains exam from this chapter, you have these 4 questions that has been asked from parliamentary chapter. So these 2 questions, these 2 10 markers have been asked in 2016 UPSC mains. Then this 115 marker was asked in 2017 mains, and this 115 marker was asked in UPSC mains in 2018, right. See, if you have assessed this mains paper, GS2 mains paper, you would be knowing that GS2 is considered, GS2 is known for its dynamism, right. You have to prepare for social justice, you have to prepare for international relation, you have to prepare for governance apart from the polity. So there are 4 sections that you have to prepare as far as mains is concerned for the GS2. Indian polity, that is traditional Indian polity, then Indian government governance, in which implementation of scheme, then how administration is running. So question can be asked from that section. Then you have international relation, right. So under those 4 verticals you will have to prepare. Now if 4 questions is being asked in past 3 years from one particular chapter, and that too from static point of view, that highlights that how much important this chapter is going to be, right. So you can read the questions. I don't want to lengthen the lecture by discussing, although I would have loved to discuss all these 4 questions from mains perspective, but right now time will not allow, because course has to be this course, polity course. I had already thought that within 2 months I would be able to complete this polity, but it's been 3.5 months, right. We are not yet completed even half of the chapters, and that's why I have skipped this Council of Minister and Cabinet Committee. Although I promise you guys that those chapters will be completed, it's just that those chapters which has more cost benefit, who are high yielding chapters, right, like Parliament that we saw, the Supreme Court, right. So once we have completed these high yielding chapters, and if time allows for this year prelims, right, so we'll complete that as well. But if time does not allow, see, as far as if you are preparing for 2021, rest assured that on this channel all your polity preparation will be completed. But if you are preparing for 2020, this completion of this polity will entirely depend on the rescheduling date, right, because we are taking whatever we are taking in detail, right. If I have to complete it, right, in any way I could have completed, means if I have to teach it to you from the PDF, I can do it every day, means in one day I can complete the chapter. But the thing is that I want to put up the quality as much as possible, and that's why it is taking taking time. So plan for this chapter will remain that you will get at least 5 to 6 video which will entail around 1 or 1.5 hour each, right? So this is going to be the layout of this video. We already have covered importance of this chapter. Thereafter we have planned to cover the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. While covering this Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, this coverage will be most detailed, right? The data that we have put up in this Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha section, these data are not available even in Lakshmikant or DD Basu as well. So that kind of guarantee I am extending you. And once you have covered this Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha from this video, I can guarantee you that you need not to refer any book as far as these two topics, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, is concerned. Then Delimitation Commission, what is the job of delimitation, what objective? Recently, this is a current affair topic, right? So if you would have been going through what you call Indian polity current affairs, you would have seen that after bifurcation of Jammu and Kashmir, new Delimitation Commission has been instituted, right? Thereafter, qualification and disqualification norm of an MP member of parliament, and in the last section MCQ. MCQ will be only from the section that we'll cover. So we are right now covering this Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and qualification and disqualification norm of MP and Delimitation Commission. So whatever 7 or 8 MCQ that has been put up, and these MCQs are those MCQ that has been asked in previous year prelim, right? So I have not framed any MCQs as far as this video is concerned, or this topic, these topics are concerned. So let us enter into the topics, right? So this is the structure of union government. I hope by now, after covering chapter of president, because in every chapter we are covering this structure, union government that has been spanning from article 52 to 151, right? I need not to repeat it, that it has been divided into this part 5 of Indian constitution has been divided into chapter 5. So I need not to repeat it. And this chapter 5, that is the union executive, as part of union executive, we already have done these two chapters, that is president and vice president. Out of this council of minister, that was divided into two chapters. One was your PM and another was your council of minister, right? COM. So PM we already have covered. COM, that is council of minister or cabinet, has been kept pending, right? So it will entirely depend on the announcement of date for this year prelim 2020, right? That will cover these things or not, right? Right now we are delving into union legislature, that is parliament. Ordinance making power we had already done. In president chapter itself, union judiciary will do, right? As far as this AG is concerned, Attorney General of India, and CAG, these are very small chapter, we can cover this as well, right? So for 2021 who are preparing, right, they need not to worry about these chapter, because once we have covered these chapter, that is high yielding chapter, we will jump to these chapter. And as far as 2020 is concerned, right, if time will allow, right, we'll cover the high yielding topics of other section as well. Like after these, covering this parliament and Supreme Court, will delve into the state government portion. There we'll cover governor and CM and other things. Thereafter high court, and thereafter we'll jump into the constitutional and statutory body, and thereafter the time allows, then in that portion we'll cover these things as well. So this is how I have planned this polity course, right? Let us move into next slide and let us start discussing this chapter, right? So Parliament of India has been discussed in Article 79, and Parliament consists of these three things, right? Parliament consists president, Parliament consists upper house, that is Rajya Sabha, and Parliament consists of Lok Sabha. So Parliament of India has been dealt in Article 79. Article 80 deals with Rajya Sabha and Article 81 deals with Lok Sabha. So if a question is generally or customarily asked that what does Parliament of India consist of, so normal person will quickly say that Parliament of India consists of these two houses, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. But you are UPSC aspirants, right? You need to know that it is not only combination of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, it also does consist of president, right? So these three are, president is also integral part of what you call parliament, and president has been dealt in Article 52. If you remember, in president chapter we had discussed. So the first article of union executive, or rather first article of part 5 was this Article 52. So part 5 of Indian constitution, if you remember, part 5 is ranging from Article 52 to Article 151, 1, right? 99 articles. So the first article of union government, right? Can you remember this, the structure? So union government is spanning from article 52 to article 51. 52 is the first article, that is in union executive, and this union executive has been broken into these many things. So the first article of union government, that is article 52, is dealing with president, right? So that is the thing. Let us come on the next slide, right? So let me be clear, let me repeat it again, that parliament does consist of these three: president, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. This Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha is collectively called, this system is called what you call bicameral legislature. So India does have this system of bicameral legislature. What is the meaning of bicameral legislature? That you do have right, the legislature is bicameral, means two houses are there, right? So if you remember, the genesis of this bicameral legislature can be traced in Government of India Act 1919, right? So in 1919, this bicameralism was introduced through this Government of India Act 1919 at the central level, and the state level this bicameralism will be introduced in 1935, right? So now let us move to the next slide and let us discuss that why this president, right? Our customary understanding is that yes, parliament does consist of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, but parliament also consists of president. So let us move to the next slide and let us discuss that why president is also considered as integral part of parliament, right? If you look at the functions of president with respect to Indian parliament, you will know that why he is considered as integral part of parliament, right? So president though is not part of legislature, he is not part of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. So president though is not part of legislature, yet integral part of parliament. Why? Because we are following United Kingdom model, right? There they have this constitutional monarchy who is head of state, right? And head of state there, right? In UK model, right? Head of state is part of their parliament, right? We are not following United States model where president is elected separately and president works independently, right? Here we do not have that kind of system, right? So let us look at some functions of what you call Indian president, although we had discussed all those functions in while covering this president chapter, but let us cover few functions of Indian president with respect to president, and thereby we would be clear that why president is considered as part of parliament. So president has power to summon, prorogue both the houses, means Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So right now we are not in parliament is not in session, right? We just had that budget session. Thereafter we'll have in July, August you will have this monsoon session. So when monsoon session, parliamentary session will go on, the first thing will happen is that those two houses will be summoned. Summoned means called into action, right? So that notification will be issued by none other than president, right? Then prorogue. Meaning of prorogue is when the house business is over, Lok Sabha business is over for that particular session, right? So speaker, the job of speaker is to issue. When we'll read the speaker, when we'll delve little deeper into this chapter, you will see that there is something called adjourn. Let me write it. Adjourn, sign, die. So the job of once the business of Lok Sabha or once the business of Rajya Sabha is over, this is one tool that is issued by Speaker of Lok Sabha or Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, right? They issue this adjourn, sign, die, means our business is over. Thereafter, it is the job of President to issue this prorogue over, right? So adjourn, sign, die, that will be followed by this prorogue notification, and when prorogue notification by the President is issued, that essentially means is that the business of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha for that particular session is over, right? So that is, these two are the functions of president with respect to parliament. Then president is also empowered to address joint sitting of both the houses on two occasions. So the first occasion is that when you have this newly instituted Lok Sabha. So in 2019 May, you had this 17th Lok Sabha. So as soon a new Lok Sabha is instituted, both the houses is collectively called and president addresses both the house. So first occasion is this. The second occasion is that at the starting of each year, right, a starting of our year happens as far as the session are concerned, right. We do have 3 sessions. The first session is called budget session every year, right. The second session we do have monsoon session, right, and the third session we do have is winter session, right. So the starting of year happens with the budget session. So on second occasion when president addresses this joint sitting of both the houses is at the starting of budget session in January when we had budget session. So both the houses, that is Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, will again sit together, right, and that the joint sitting will be addressed by president. So power to address joint sitting of both the houses lies with the president. So that is another power. Then money bill and few other bills are introduced only after his prior approval. What is this other bill? So under Article 2 and Article 3, whenever state boundary has to be changed, whenever name of any state has to be changed, right. So any such bill if has to introduced in any of the house, right, prior recommendation of president is necessary. That is true in regard of money bill as well. So money bill is introduced in Lok Sabha, but prior to introducing this money bill into the Lok Sabha, right, executive needs to have the permission from president. Without president's permission, these two kinds of bill, that is money bill and the bills related to the state, there are a few other bills as well, right. So those bills cannot be introduced without the prior recommendation, right, introduced after his approval. Rather you can use the word prior permission. So without prior permission of president, executive cannot introduce money bill in the house. So that is again president's power with respect to parliament. Bill becomes act only after he signs it, he assents it. So under Article 11 or 111, when a bill is passed by both the houses, it is sent to the president office, right, and it is only when president signs those bills, right, it becomes act, right. So at the initial stage, once both the houses has passed the bill, it will still be called bill unless you have president who signs it, right, this bill will not become act. So that is again highlight of presidential power with respect to parliament, and it is because of these reasons that the president is called integral part of parliament. So I hope why president has been described as integral part of parliament would be clear to you. Let us move to the next slide and now start discussing Rajya Sabha, that is upper house, right. So if you know, this house was initially called Council of State. Rajya Sabha was the name that was given to this upper house only in 1954, right. The first sitting of this Rajya Sabha happened in 1952, right. Immediately after independence, you didn't have both the houses, right. We functioned only with the one provisional parliament, and that provisional parliament had only one house, that is Lok Sabha, right. Rajya Sabha came into the picture, or the Council of State came into the picture only after the first election of independent India happened, and the first election of independent India happened in 1952, and it was only after this first election that this Council of State was established, right, and Council of State's name was changed in 1954, right. So Rajya Sabha is also alternatively called Council of State, it is also called Federal Chamber, it is also called Second Chamber, right. So these are the names that you can give, right. It is also called Federal Chamber. Genesis, if you want to trace, right, Rajya Sabha had its genesis in Government of India Act 1919 Act, if you remember, right. Bicameralism when was introduced at the center, it is with this act that Rajya Sabha was introduced, right. Rajya Sabha came into the picture at the central level in 1935. We already have discussed, right. In 1935 you will see that the upper house will also come at the state level as well. Upper house was not part of provisional parliament, right. We already have discussed. Rajya Sabha began functioning only after first election in 1952. We already have seen this. What form of election it does happen? So members are elected through indirect election, right? These people, Rajya Sabha member does not get into the direct election the way it happens for members of Lok Sabha. So members of Lok Sabha are elected directly by the people, right, through first past post system, but these people are not directly elected, rather these people are elected by the elected representatives of the state, that is MLAs, right? So we as a voter do not directly participate in their election, right? Elected by state assemblies. Then what is the method of election? So method of election, if you see, proportional representation by single transferable vote. So this method of election we already had seen while discussing president chapter. So president is also elected by similar election method, that is proportional representation by single transferable vote. So president, vice president, members of state legislative council means state upper house, and Rajya Sabha members. So these four designation or these four institutions are elected by same election method, that is proportional representation by single transferable vote. So president, vice president, legislative council and Rajya Sabha members, right, are elected by this proportional representation through single transferable vote. But one difference that this Rajya Sabha member election has with the president and vice president is that in president and vice president, along with this proportional representation by single, they are elected by something called secret ballot, right? This has already been explained, secret ballot. But Rajya Sabha members are elected by open ballot. In open ballot, what is means to your political whip, you will have to means MLAs when they are electing, they are voting for Rajya Sabha members, right? They will have to show the slip, right? So we already have seen that in proportional representation by single trans. So when this kind of voting happen, to every voter a slip is given. On that slip, they will have a name of the candidates, that okay, these are the candidates, and priority will have to be given, right? So this is the slip, suppose, and there are 5 contestants, suppose A, B, C, D, E, right? Electors are who? Electors are MLA, right? So MLAs will be asked to give priority to these candidates. So suppose I am a MLA and I want my preferable candidate is B, so I'll give priority 1 to B, priority 2 to A, priority 3 to E. So this is how voting is done, right? So after I have marked the priority, the meaning of open ballot is this, that I'll have to show this slip to my political whip, right? That was not the case in what you call president and vice president election. In vice president election, in president election, right, they were using this secret ballot method. So in that case, I need not to show this slip, means the manner in which I have marked my preferences, right? I needed not to show this to any of the political, rather whip is not issued in presidential and vice presidential election. Here one additional thing is that whip is issued in case of Rajya Sabha election member. So that is also a difference. So difference between Rajya Sabha election and election of president and vice president are 2. The similarity is that the proportional representation by single transferable vote, that is the similarity, but the difference is that one, that open ballot in Rajya Sabha, right, while secret ballot in president and vice president, and another difference is that whip is not issued for election of vice president and president, but whip is issued in case of Rajya Sabha. So this whip thing is not mentioned in this notes, right? When you will get PDF, you will see that whip thing will be over, right? Then the next line is the 3 UTs with legislature shall elect members by assembly. So you do have 3 union territory as well, right? Recently a new union territory has been created which has assembly, that is J&K UT, right, with assembly. Then another 2 UTs that has assembly is what you call Delhi, NCT of Delhi, and Puducherry. So these people also have Rajya Sabha seats, right? So J&K, just a moment. J&K has 4 seats in Rajya Sabha, NCT of Delhi has 3 seats, and Puducherry has 1 seat, right? So 8 seats have been allotted, means along with the states already have what you call Rajya Sabha seats. Along with the state, these 3 UTs as well have seats in Rajya Sabha, right? So 3 UTs means in UTs how the election for the Rajya Sabha members happens. So 3 UTs with legislature shall elect its member by the state assembly. Special electorate for other UTs as well. Due to the small size, the other UTs, that is Andaman Nicobar, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Lakshadweep. So due to their small size, they have not been given any representation in UT, but constitution does have provision. So if there is any prelim question that is framed that in constitution there is no provision for the Rajya Sabha seat for the UTs, that will be a wrong option. So article 80, which talks about representation of state and UT in Rajya Sabha, that has this provision that these smaller UTs can be given what you call representation in Rajya Sabha. That is the provision that is existing in constitution. It's just that we as a parliament have decided that owing to the small size, we have not given the share, right? But the constitution has this, that if the UTs which does not have assembly, how many UTs we do have? We do have 8 UTs right now, right? So out of this 8 UT, you have these 3 UTs which have assembly. So these people can elect their Rajya Sabha members using this assembly. But what about the other 5 UTs which does not have what you call assembly? So in that case, constitution has mentioned that their special electorate, right? So as and when we assign any Rajya Sabha representation, suppose tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we get to, means as a parliament, we get to decide that yes, Lakshadweep population has increased to the extent that it can also be given representation in Rajya Sabha. So because they do not have any assembly, right? So a special electorate will be constituted for that UT. So this is the constitutional provision. Although other UTs owing to the small population does not have representation in Rajya Sabha. So I hope this provision is clear to you. Let us move to the next slide, right? So talking about membership of the Rajya Sabha, the maximum size of Rajya Sabha that can be 250, right? So until 2026 this number will remain fixed, we cannot increase, right? So 250 is going to be maximum size of Rajya Sabha. Out of that 250, right, 5 seats has been reserved for POK, Pakistan. We cannot leave our claim over POK, right? So this 5 seats has been kept reserved for the POK. So as and when we'll have the POK, right, these 5 seats will be transferred to that area, right? So if you would have been aware, in J&K assembly as well, there are certain legislature, right? So there are certain number of seats of MLA that has been reserved for this area, right? So in constitution or in parliament, right, we cannot leave our legal claim on this area. That's why you will see that the maximum size of what you call Lok Sabha is this, right? But right now what we are using is this. We'll see this, right? 7 seats for the Lok Sabha has also been kept for this area, right? So 5 seats has been reserved for the POK and that is lying vacant. So the effective strength of the Rajya Sabha right now is 245. Out of those 245, 233 has been given to the states and UTs, right? So which state will get what number of seats, that has been mentioned in the 4th schedule of Indian Constitution. So the 4th schedule deals with the allocation of seats through the Rajya Sabha. So which state will have what share in the Rajya Sabha, that has been mentioned in 4th schedule, right? They do have, the 4th schedule does have that Bihar does have so many seats, this J&K does have so many seats, and as and when states boundaries are disturbed, 4th schedule is also disturbed. So right now this J&K was bifurcated, right? So 4th schedule was also amended. J&K, Jammu and Kashmir had 4 Rajya Sabha seats, and all those 4 Rajya Sabha seats has been transferred to the J&K UT with the legislature, right? Ladakh has not been given any kind of representation in what you call Rajya Sabha. So whenever states boundaries are disturbed, this 4th schedule will also be disturbed, means that will be amended, right? So out of 245 seats, right, 233 seats has gone to states and union territories, and 12 seat will come from the nomination, right? So here for these 12 seats, right, that will be these 12 members in the Rajya Sabha will be nominated by president, right? And this presidential power to nominate 12 member, let me tell you, this nomination power is not discretionary, right? President will nominate only those 12 candidates which will be advised by Council of Ministers. So the key word is that this nomination power into the Rajya Sabha for these 12 members is not discretionary power of president. Only when Council of Ministers will send the list of these 12 candidates, right, those members only will be nominated by the president, right? So discretionary power. And what is the logic behind having this 12 nomination, right? We could have given all these 12 seats to the state and UT, right? All these 245 people could have come from the election, right? Because election is the right way of having, means any member in the house, right? So what is the logic of nominating 12 candidates? So the logic is simple, right? So in Lok Sabha, how do people come? Who do have political connection, who do have muscle power, who do have financial power. Similar is the case of Rajya Sabha, right? So constitutional maker thought that there may be people, there may be talented people in other field who do not have that kind of political backing, but still they do have talent, right? They have earned their name, right? So people belonging to the science, any scientist, APJ Abdul Kalam, right? People belonging to the arts, right? People belonging to the literature, people belonging to the social services. If these people are made member of these houses like Rajya Sabha, they can give their valuable experience that they have earned throughout their life in field of science, arts, literature, and social science, and their experience can be valuable for functioning of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Right now we are talking about Rajya Sabha. So 4 areas that has been mentioned that from which these 12 members can be nominated is science, arts, literature, and social services. However, recently you would have seen that people from sports, people from economics, people from other background is being also nominated to what you call Rajya Sabha. So this case, such cases has been dragged into Supreme Court as well. So Sachin Tendulkar, when his case went into the Delhi High Court that he does not belong to these 4 category that has been mentioned specifically in Article 80 of Indian Constitution, which says that people should, these 12 members should be nominated from science, arts, literature, and social services, right? So when this case, Sachin Tendulkar case was dragged into Delhi High Court with this question, should the nominated members strictly belong to the 4 categories that has been mentioned in Article 80 itself? So the answer of High Court, the observation was of the High Court was that the Tendulkar nomination challenged in Delhi High Court. High Court said the spirit behind Article 80 is to have talents across the fields, right? So we need not to limit ourselves only to the 4 fields that has been mentioned in the Constitution. So if you find talent in field of economics, if you do have some Nobel laureate like this Abhijit Banerjee, if you want to take his valuable experience in Rajya Sabha, right? So you can have, means you can bring Abhijit Banerjee into the Rajya Sabha, provided of course it's that candidate should be politically suitable for the Rajya Sabha, right? For the ruling party only then, right? So to have talent across the field, it should not be limited only to the 4 explicit category, right? Social science, science, literature, and arts from all classes, right? And it is not the discretionary. So that was the reasoning behind having 12 seats coming through the nomination, right? So if you see out of these 230 seats that you can see, 225 seats has been given to the states, right? 8 seats has been given to the 3 UTs. We already discussed who were these 3 UTs. So 3 UTs were what you call JNK. JNK का share 4 seat है. The second UT was NCT of Delhi, 3 seats, and the third was your Puducherry, 1 seat. So 8 seats has been given to 3 UTs, right? And 225 seats has been given to 28 states. So this is how the membership of Rajya Sabha has been distributed. Let us move to the next slide and let us discuss the role of Rajya Sabha, right? So Rajya Sabha job is to act as a deliberative body. It will indulge in discussion. It will have discussion on the bills that is being passed by Lok Sabha, or some bills can be initiated. Ordinary bill can be initiated in Rajya Sabha as well. So it will have deliberation as deliberation happens in Lok Sabha as well. But the primary job of, or the major role of Rajya Sabha is that it acts as a check on the hastily passed bill by the Lok Sabha. So in Lok Sabha, the government of the day, the ruling party has majority, right? So at times they may be politically driven by their own ideological moorings. Right now, we do have a government which is motivated more by ideological reasoning than the economic reasoning, right? So at times you will see that ruling party is continuously pushing their own political agenda or their own ideological agenda. So at that moment, it is the role of Rajya Sabha which comes into the picture, and it will act as a check on the arbitrary power of the ruling party or executive tyranny, right? So executive tyranny, that is the key word, and it acts as a check on hastily passed bills by the Lok Sabha, right? So that is their primary job. But of late, in last 20 or 25 years, if you see the political history of India, if you would have noticed, in Lok Sabha there will be always the ruling party majority. So in Lok Sabha you do have majority of a different party, currently BJP, but in Rajya Sabha you may have majority from the opposition party, by the TRS, by YSCRP, right, by Biju Janata Dal, by TMC. So of late what has been the trend that this house, though envisioned role was to check on the arbitrary power of the ruling party, to act as a check on the hastily passed bill of the Rajya Sabha, but of late in last 20 or 25 years, when they do see that this ruling party in the Lok Sabha does not have majority, they get together, these all opposition party get together and they try to act, or they try to stall the bill that has been passed by the Lok Sabha. Right. So of late a discussion, a negative role of this Rajya Sabha has come into the picture, and the debate has started for the abolition of Rajya Sabha. Now this debate right now is only at the political and at academic level, right? No serious debate has started, but people have started writing editorials, right, about the negative role that Rajya Sabha is playing, right? So you do have these kind of articles. Just 4 days ago or 5 days ago, we had one article on the role, the obstructionist role of Rajya Sabha, right? I had shared that on Telegram as well. So there are other articles as well. The veto of unelected over popularly elected. So who are unelected? So to Rajya Sabha, it is referring as unelected, and who are popularly elected? So Lok Sabha, the ruling party in the Lok Sabha, they are popularly elected because they have been elected directly by the masses. So this house, that is Rajya Sabha, is vetoing, right? They are unelected and they do have power collectively. This opposition party has get together and they are vetoing the bill that has been passed by a popularly elected government. Let us try to understand. See, as far as accountability is concerned, it is the Lok Sabha, right, the members who have been elected, because Lok Sabha members are elected by first past post system. It is they have been elected directly by the masses, not the Rajya Sabha. How Rajya Sabha members are elected? They are elected by the state legislative assemblies, right, state MLAs, right? So they are not directly. So the responsibility, as far as responsibility and accountability is concerned, it is these people who know the pulse of the nation, who know pulse of the voter, right? They do have that sense. These people cannot, Rajya Sabha members who have not been directly elected, these people cannot be expected to understand the pulse of the people, pulse of the voters, right? Lok Sabha represents will of the people, not the Rajya Sabha. So this is the argument that has been presented by various scholars, various academicians, right, when they see the negative role being played by the Rajya Sabha, where this Rajya Sabha, instead of playing the envisioned role by the constitutional makers, right, their envisioned role was this, So instead of having these roles, of course they are doing these things as well, but of late they are indulging into political vendetta. Whenever bills are passed by the ruling party, even when they see that there is logical reasoning behind the passage of that bill, they stall the bill. They collectively come together, they have the majority and they try to. So in that context, the argument is being presented that veto of unelected over popularly elected, right? Lok Sabha represents will of the people, not Rajya Sabha. So Rajya Sabha must have reduced power over the bill. So these kind of arguments is being presented at academic level, right? Of late, opposition enjoying majority in Rajya Sabha has managed to stall many bills passed by Lok Sabha. So again a point. Should virtual veto of Rajya Sabha over Lok Sabha be tweaked, right? Jay Panda, there is a Odisha member of parliament, right? He belongs to Rajya Sabha, right? And he belongs to BJP. So he had started very vigorous debate on the role, negative role that is being played by Rajya Sabha. So if you do have time, if you are preparing for 2021, right, you can simply type J Panda in the YouTube section, J Panda debate on Rajya Sabha. So he do push up very good argument for the negative role played by this Rajya Sabha members. So this is again a discussion that can go for next 1 hour, but that will be important only from the means perspective. I do have few good articles about the negative role being played by, obstructionist role being played by Rajya Sabha, and rather I had shared a link as well in Telegram, right, the other day, 3 or 4 days ago, about the negative role, obstructionist role being played by Rajya Sabha. So whenever you have come across such article, make sure that in your current affair booklet or notebook or whatever Evernote where you are preparing notes, right, have the key points, right? So that is the thing. As far as other articles are concerned, if you want, you can request me over the mails or Telegram. I'll share you the link, right? But make sure that you do make notes. I would have again loved to discuss this, but again, this will be important from the mains perspective. And if you guys request, right, I can come up with a separate module after the pre for the mains of this polity, right? As of now, let me limit this debate, right? Just a moment. Now the term. So term of Rajya Sabha is 6 years as opposed to the 5-year term of the Lok Sabha, right? Although Lok Sabha can be dissolved earlier as well. So Lok Sabha tenure is not fixed. It can be of 13 days as well. So in case of Atal Bihari government, right, that Lok Sabha had run only for 13 days, right? So here the term of Rajya Sabha is fixed, and that's why this house is also called permanent house, right? It never happens that the membership of all the people, means all the members of Rajya Sabha, it never happens, will retire in one go. Their membership has been designed, means Rajya Sabha membership has been designed in such a way that 1/3 of its member retire every second year, right? And this house also makes sure that as soon 1/3 of their member has retired in a year, right, same number of people joins them in the same year. So suppose for 1/3 of the members is to retire in 2021, that is next year, so Rajya Sabha will make sure that similar number of people. So what is the effective number of effective size of what you call Rajya Sabha? So the maximum size is suppose 245. So suppose 1/3 of this 245 is to retire in 2021. So Rajya Sabha will make sure that same number of people will join, means election will be held for those 1/3 of 245 in the same year, right? And that's why at any time the membership of Rajya Sabha will remain this 245. So if this election has happened, first election has happened in 2021, the next election or the next retirement will happen in 2023. So as soon 1/3 member retires in 2023, right, 1/3 will again join, right? Next retirement will happen in 2025. Same again 1/3 will retire and 1/3 will join, and this is how this house continues. So ऐसा कभी नहीं होगा कि लोकसभा की तरह एक बार में ही सारे के सारे मेंबर्स रिटायर हो जाएंगे, right? So it never dissolves like Lok Sabha. As far as chairman is concerned, chairman, as we already discussed when we were discussing the vice president, so vice president is ex officio chairman of the house. So generally what happens in case of Lok Sabha or state assembly or state legislative council, the chairman or the speaker of the or head of that house is selected among or elected among their own members. That is not the case in case of Rajya Sabha, right? Whosoever joins as vice president, he will go on to become chairman of Rajya Sabha, and that's why it is said the chairman of Rajya Sabha is not selected among its member, right? That is in case of Lok Sabha, that is in case of state assembly. Now the question can be raised that does this person, chairman, who is not member of this house, right, it is just because by virtue of being vice president he has been given this post, right, will he have voting power in this house? So the answer is yes, but he will have not voting power in normal circumstances. What he'll have is that he will have the casting vote. So in normal circumstances, when voting is going on any bill, he will not exercise his vote. But as soon on any bill, coincidentally the situation developed that there is equality of vote. So suppose on any particular bill 122 people are saying yes and 122 equally people are saying that no, this bill should not be passed. So equality of vote 122 to 122. So in that case, chairman can exercise his voting power, right, and his voting will decide that okay, will this bill be passed or will that bill be not passed. So that is the concept of casting vote. So chairman, despite not being member of this house, right, he is VP, despite not being member of this house, he will have this casting vote. In normal circumstances, he will not vote. So I hope this concept is clear to you. So this we already have discussed. Let us move to the next slide now and let us discuss special powers of Rajya Sabha. So in two areas, Rajya Sabha has special powers over the Lok Sabha. These two jobs cannot be done by the Lok Sabha. These two jobs that we'll discuss, right? These two jobs can be done only by the Rajya Sabha because of the nature is such that the Rajya Sabha has been given special power in these two areas. The first area is that if a new All India service has to be created, right? How many All India services right now we do have 3 All India services. The first is IAS, then IPS, then IFS. Not foreign services. Foreign services is central services, right? Indian Forest Services. So Indian Administrative Services, Indian Police Services, and Indian Forest Services. So these are the 3 All India services that we do have. Now, if any fourth All India service is to be created, so that power will be granted to the Parliament, right, for enacting fourth, what you call, All India services, right? That power will be granted to the Parliament only by the Rajya Sabha, right? So if Rajya Sabha tomorrow thinks that it is in national interest to have another All India services, that is fourth All India services or fifth in All India services, so what Rajya Sabha can do is that Rajya Sabha, if it thinks that it is in national interest to create fourth All India services, it can empower Parliament. Means law will be made by Parliament, but law will be made by Parliament only when Rajya Sabha empowers the Parliament. So what Rajya Sabha will have to do to empower Parliament? Rajya Sabha will have to pass a resolution. Resolution में majority क्या होगी? So 2/3 of the member present and voting, means 2/3 members not of the Rajya Sabha size, right? 2/3 of the members present and voting अगर एक रेजोल्यूशन पास कर देते हैं कि इट इज इन नेशनल इंटरेस्ट टू हैव फोर्थ ऑल इंडिया सर्विसेज, then Rajya Sabha, then Parliament will be empowered to enact law on the fourth All India services, for the creation of fourth All India services, right? So that is one special power under Article 312 that has been given to the Rajya Sabha. I hope this thing is clear to you. The next special power of Rajya Sabha is Article 249. So we do have 7th schedule, right? So in 7th schedule you have list 1 and list 2. We do have list 3 as well. So in list 1 union's power has been defined, right? Subjects on which union is empowered to legislate on. In list 2 you do have state list, right? So the list on which state is empowered to legislate, right? So union has its own area, state has its own area. But at any time, if Rajya Sabha feels that it is in national interest, again the same reasoning, right? Right now, as per 7th schedule, union is legislating on the union list, that is list 1. State is legislating on the state list, that is list 2. But at any time, if Rajya Sabha thinks that it is in national interest, that word has not been mentioned in 249, I will again correct it, right? So if at any time Rajya Sabha thinks that it is in national interest for the union to legislate on the state subject, once for one state or for a group of state it can be. So if at any time Rajya Sabha thinks that it is in national interest for the parliament to enact laws for the whole or any part of India on matters enumerated in the state list, then again same process, it will pass a resolution. Rajya Sabha will pass a resolution with 2/3 of its member present and voting, and then parliament will be empowered, right? After Rajya Sabha has passed such resolution that it is in national interest for the union to make laws on state list for one state or group of state, right? Then parliament will be empowered, right? And parliament can legislate on the state subject. The only caveat is that any such law that has been passed on the state list by the union, that will remain effective only for 1 year, right? But if Rajya Sabha wants, Rajya Sabha can increase this. Rajya Sabha can again pass a resolution, and this law's force will be increased beyond 1 year as well. So periodically, if Rajya Sabha keep passing such resolution every 1 year, right? So union will keep making laws on the state list every year, right? So that is the concept. So article 312, that is deals with creation of all India services. So that power, that is the special power, that is the special territory of Rajya Sabha. Then article 249, this article 249 empowers union, right, to enact on the state law when Rajya Sabha passes a resolution supported by 2/3 of the members present and voting. The key word is present and voting, not the total membership of the house, right? So I hope these two special parts of Rajya Sabha would be clear to you. Now we are moving into Lok Sabha, right? So Lok Sabha has been dealt in article 81 of the Indian Constitution. So let us try to remember those three articles. So Parliament was dealt in article 79, Rajya Sabha was dealt in article 80, and then Lok Sabha has been dealt in article 81. Lok Sabha is also alternatively called lower house, it is also called popular house, and it is also called house of people. Why it is called house of people or popular house? Because the members of this house are elected popularly, they are elected directly by the people, unlike Rajya Sabha members who are elected by the MLAs, right? These people are being directly elected by the people through first past post system, right? First past post system, right? So that is the thing, and that's why this house is also called popular house, and this house is also called house of the people, right? Tenure of this house is 5 years, right? And generally, the word generally has been put up because this house can be dissolved earlier than 5 years as well, right? So if a government has been formed, a council of minister has been formed, right? If that council of minister loses the confidence of the Lok Sabha, then that council of minister will have to resign, and if any other party cannot manage the majority, then house will be dissolved. So that had happened in Atal Bihari government as well in 1996, when that Lok Sabha ran only for 13 days. Can you imagine? 13 days, because he lost, he could not manage the majority, and that's why this word has been put up generally. So contrary to this Lok Sabha tenure, Rajya Sabha was a permanent house. Why permanent house? Because those members were, all the members were not retiring at one time, right? Lok Sabha can be dissolved earlier as well in times of emergency if its duration can be increased. So if national emergency, what is the meaning of this? So if national emergency has been imposed under article 352 of Indian Constitution, so the tenure of this house can be increased by 1 year every time for unlimited period of time, right? So emergency videos agar aapne dekhi hogi, this provision you can recall that if national emergency has been imposed on the whole of the country, then tenure of Lok Sabha can be increased by 1 year every time for the unlimited period of the time. So if parliament keeps approving such a resolution for the national emergency, right, the tenure will be increased 1 year at a time, right? And for how long? For unlimited period of time, right? Election is direct election, means the members of this house is elected directly, that we already have discussed, right? The method used is first past post system. So in Rajya Sabha, you had this proportional representation by single transferable method, right? So we'll see the comparison of what is this first past post system, and we'll see its comparison from proportional representation as well, and its comparison from proportional representation by single transferable vote. So we'll see this comparison in the next video, that how what is the advantages of first past post system, what is the drawback of first past post system, why We have used first past post system in the election of Lok Sabha members. Why it could not be used in presidential election? Why it cannot be used in Rajya Sabha election? So all those aspects we'll touch when we'll do a comparison between first past post system and proportional representation. Then universal adult franchise is used in this election of the members of Lok Sabha. What is the meaning of universal adult franchise? So any person who has crossed a certain age, and certain age in case of India is 18 years. So any person who has crossed 18 years of age and has voter card, right, he can participate in the election, and that's why this word universal. Adult means 18 years from India's measurement, so universal adult. So any person 18 years, irrespective of caste, irrespective of religion, irrespective of creed, and that's why this universal. So universal adult franchise we do use. As far as the composition of seats of Lok Sabha is concerned, this is how is the composition of Lok Sabha. So the maximum strength of Lok Sabha can be 555, right? Out of this 555 seats, right, 7 seats has been reserved for the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. 545 is the current maximum current strength of our Lok Sabha. Out of 545 that you see, right, 2 members are nominated to be nominated from Anglo-Indian community, right, and 543 are being given to states and union territories, right. This requirement of having 2 nominated Anglo-Indian nominated member has been done away with recently 104th Constitutional Amendment Act, right. So that requirement has been done away from the state level as well and at the central level as well. So if you know, at the state level as well, there was this provision that if governor feels at the central level, if the president feels that this community, Anglo-Indian community, is not adequately represented through the method of election, right, in that case president was empowered to nominate 2 members in the Lok Sabha. Similar provision is at state level, that if governor feels that Anglo-Indian community is not properly represented in their assembly, then he had power to nominate 1 member. At Lok Sabha, president has power to nominate 2 members. At the governor, at the state level, state assembly level, 1 member from Anglo-Indian. The condition is that if these people are not adequately represented. But recently you had in 2020-10 4th Constitutional Amendment Act, right, which did away with this requirement of having nominated this Anglo-Indian members from Lok Sabha as well and from the state assembly as well. Out of this 543, if you see, 19 seats has been given to 8 UTs, right. We do have 8 union territories. So Lok Sabha representation has been given to every union territory. If you remember when we were discussing Rajya Sabha membership, in Rajya Sabha all 8 union territories has not been given representation. In case of Rajya Sabha, only 3 union territory had been given representation, right. Who were all those 3 union territory? J&K, right, NCT of Delhi and Puducherry, right. Only these 3 union territories does have representation in Rajya Sabha, but as far as Lok Sabha is concerned, every UT, all the 8 UTs that we do have, right, those have representation, right. So 19 seats has been given to these 8 UTs, right. 524 seats has been given to 28 states that we do have. So this was about the composition of the Lok Sabha. Let us move to the next slide and let us discuss the other aspects of the Lok Sabha. So here you do have Delimitation Commission, right. So we'll understand the roles and objective of this commission, and we'll also understand that why we have inserted this Delimitation Commission within the verticals of Lok Sabha. Although this seems a separate topic, so we'll have to understand that why we have attached this topic into the Lok Sabha verticals, right. So let us understand this Delimitation Commission first, right. So the Delimitation Commission, this delimitation has been formed by a word called delimit, right. Delimit means limiting something. Let us understand, right. So every 10 years we do have something called census, Janasankhya Ganana, right. We do count our population every 10 years. So we do had what you call last election was counted in 2011, then we'll have in 2021. The process is already going on, just have slowed it down because of COVID, and in 2001 as well. So every 10 years we do have census. Now suppose there is a political constituency at the state level, right, our MPs and MLAs are responsible for developmental function. Although MLAs are directly responsible for the development function, MPs are responsible primarily for the law making at the parliamentary level, right? So every 10 years we are very productive people, right? So 2001, if you see, our population was somewhere 105 crores. In 2011, right, this population increased to somewhere 117 or 118 crores, right? So we added 12 or 13 crores people. That's why I said that we are very productive people. So with this increased population, what happens that the role of MLAs or MPs also increases. So suppose there is a political constituency called Chandni Chowk, right? Chandni Chowk is a constituency in Delhi for a MLA. The population of Chandni Chowk was earlier, suppose 7 lakhs, this constituency 7 lakh people. So this MLA, which was earlier looking into 7 lakh, means administrative function or development function, he was meeting these 7 lakh people, although practically it is not possible, but take a hypothetical case. Now in 2021, when new census comes up, suppose this population comes out to be 11 lakh. So 4 lakh jump. Now he will have, this MLA will have increased functions, right? He will have, earlier he was meeting only 7 lakh people, now he will have to meet these 11 lakh people. So he do have increased functions. Aspiration of the people have also changed. Earlier they were not expecting too much from MLAs and MPs. Now you do have increased aspiration, increased expectation from these people, right? So it is necessary that every 10 years or every 15 years, the size of this constituency is revisited, right? So size should be restructured in such a way that more number of MLAs. So suppose Haryana right now, take an example of Haryana, right? So suppose this is a Haryana, right? Haryana has 90 MLAs right now, right? The size of assembly is 90. So 10 years down the line, when the population of Haryana increases by 2 crores, say, right, or 1 crore, say, right, number of MLAs should be increased, right? From 90 it should be done to 100, right? So 90 people were looking into 6 crore population earlier or 4 crore population. Now 100 MLAs would be required if 1 crore population has been increased. So this is the role of Delimitation Commission, that every 10 years when you do have census, right? Census is not done by Delimitation Commission. There is Ministry of Home Affairs which look into this census functions, right? The job of Delimitation Commission is to restructure these political constituency in such a way कि भाई इन MLAs और MPs का जो ये political constituency का size है, राइट, वो कंट्रोल फैशन में चले. इनकी जो रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग है, इनकी बाउंड्री जो है, जो पॉलिटिकल कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज की बाउंड्री है, वो रीस्ट्रक्चर करना इज द जॉब ऑफ डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन, राइट. एंड दैट डिलिमिटेशन शुड बी डन इन अ वे कि ये जो MLAs हैं, MPs हैं, ये अपने फंक्शंस को, अपने इलेक्टोरेट के एक्सपेक्टेशन को प्रॉपरली अंडरस्टैंड कर सके और उनको रिस्पॉन्ड कर सके, उनके एस्पिरेशंस को, उनके एक्सपेक्टेशंस को दे कुड रिस्पॉन्ड. सो दैट इज द ऑब्जेक्टिव. सो आर्टिकल 82 एक्चुअली जो है, आर्टिकल 82 डील्स विद दिस डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन, right? So article 82 tells that after each census, that is after 10 years, right, Delimitation Commission shall be set up to readjust boundaries of Lok Sabha and award Lok Sabha seats to state in proportion to the population, right? So suppose Haryana, again Haryana का मैं example लूँगा. So right now 10 Lok Sabha seats Haryana does have. So 10 years down the line, if the Haryana's population increases by 1 CR, 1 crore, right, so they should be given this 11 or 12 Lok Sabha seats, right, and similarly with the other states as well. So that is what article 82 envisions. Right now I have taken only LS example, Lok Sabha seat example. The job of Delimitation Commission is also to look into the MLA's seats as well, right. MLA's seats की जो political constituency है, उनकी भी restructuring करना is the job of Delimitation Commission itself. So let us see how many Delimitation Commission has been set up so far. So far 4 Delimitation Commission has been set up. One was in 1952, another was in 1962, then 1972, and after 1972, so for these 3 decades, the practice continued that every decade you had this Delimitation Commission, right? But after 72, the 4th Delimitation Commission, if you see, is in 2002, right? And whenever Delimitation Commission is formed, it is formed by an act. Right, so it is a very powerful organization, let me tell you. And powerful kaise hai, when we look at the composition and functions of this Delimitation Commission, on the next slide you will see that how powerful this organization or this commission is, right, vis-a-vis other commission that we'll discuss in Indian polity, right. So 4 commission has been set up so far. अभी recently 5th commission भी set up हुआ है. JNK जो bifurcation हुआ है, JNK bifurcation, अरुणाचल प्रदेश में MLAs की सीट्स मतलब असेंबली लेवल पे restructuring करने के लिए, असम के restructuring करने के लिए. I hope you are keeping yourself updated with the current affair, right? So far 4 Delimitation Commission has been set up, right? Thereafter 84th Amendment Act ने क्या किया? See, right now if you remember, right, what was the maximum size of Lok Sabha? Maximum size of Lok Sabha was 552, right? Out of which we do have 545, right? 7 seats for the POK and similarly 245 for the what you call Rajya Sabha. But जो objectives था, objective क्या था? कि भाई Delimitation Commission will set, right? They'll look into the census and accordingly they'll restructure these seats. Right, they will keep increasing because your population is increasing, continuously increasing, and so does administrative functions or development function of these MLAs and MP, and so Delimitation Commission will keep increasing these Lok Sabha seats, keep increasing the assembly seats, right. So that was the objective. But even now, means in 1950 when our constitution was operationalized, the maximum number of seats in Lok Sabha or maximum number of seats in Rajya Sabha was this. But even now, right, we do have these the same number of seats. But the Delimitation Commission ने कुछ नहीं किया, they did nothing. But there is a problem. The problem is that through 84th Amendment Act, what we have done is that we have frozen the number of Lok Sabha seats, and we have said by 84th Amendment that this number of Lok Sabha seats that we do have, that is maximum 552 or say 545, right, that will not be increased under 2026 until 2026, and reasoning we'll see why we have done this 84th Amendment. And 87th Amendment we did, and in 87th Amendment what we did, we said it that the basis of delimitation of Lok Sabha seats would be on the basis of 2001 census. So these 2 amendments are necessary for you to remember, right? Now the question arises that why we have fixed this Lok Sabha seats until 2026 by 84th Amendment. Because in Article 82, the basic purpose of establishing Delimitation Commission under Article 82 was कि भाई continuously आपकी population every census में increase हो रही है, and in keeping line with that increasing population, Delimitation Commission will keep recommending कि कहाँ कितने लोकसभा सीट्स किस स्टेट का based on population increase, right, किस स्टेट को कितनी ज़्यादा लोकसभा सीट्स देनी है. मीन्स राजस्थान की अगर पॉपुलेशन या बिहार की पॉपुलेशन या उत्तर प्रदेश की पॉपुलेशन ज़्यादा बढ़ी है तो उनको ज़्यादा सीटें, और अगर केरला की सीटें और तमिलनाडु में अगर पॉपुलेशन कम है तो उनको कम सीटें, उनको कम रेट से सीटें बढ़ाना, right? So that was the logic. So let us understand that why Lok Sabha seats, number of Lok Sabha seats at the central level and assembly seats at the state level has been frozen until 2026. So let us look into the reasons, right? So if you see on the next slide, you do have decadal growth of population, right? How much population, at what rate population of different states has increased every 10 years. So Bihar is worst performing state. बिहार का जो पॉपुलेशन है वो 25% के रेट से बढ़ा है. मीन्स एवरी 10 ईयर्स बिहार ने अपने पॉपुलेशन में 25% का इंक्रीज किया है, राइट, while the national average is only 17%, right? While on the other hand, if you see केरला के स्टेट्स, केरला ने अपने पॉपुलेशन को इंक्रीज सिर्फ 4.9% किया है, राइट. जम्मू एंड कश्मीर का देखो 23.7% के रेट से बढ़ा है, छत्तीसगढ़ 22.6 के रेट से. सो ऑल दो स्टेट्स इन द रेड, राइट, इनका पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ बहुत हाई रहा है, राइट. इट इज above 17.6%, above the national average, while the states from south, the literate states, right, मोर लिटरेट स्टेट्स लाइक केरला, राइट, उनका कंट्रीब्यूशन पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ में बहुत कम रहा है, 4.9% for this Kerala. For the Andhra Pradesh it's only 11%, for Tamil Nadu 15%, right, Karnataka 15%, Maharashtra 16%, means below national average. The national average is 17.6%. So this has been the decadal growth rate of the different states. So these are the worst performing states, these are the good performing states, right. Now if you increase the Lok Sabha seats जस्ट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ पॉपुलेशन, बिकॉज लोकसभा सीट्स का जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन या फिर असेंबली सीट्स का जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हुआ है, राइट, दैट इज द बेसिस इज पॉपुलेशन. सो इफ यू इंक्रीज द नंबर ऑफ लोकसभा सीट्स फॉर दीज स्टेट्स, बिकॉज इनका पॉपुलेशन ज़्यादा बढ़ा है, राइट, सो करंटली बिहार डज हैव 40 सीट्स, राइट, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग 40 सीट्स है बिहार, राइट, यूपी का शायद 80 है इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, राइट. सो बिहार का पॉपुलेशन अगर 25% के रेट से बढ़ रहा है और 40 में आप 25% जोड़ देते हो, केरला का सपोज, केरला का सीट्स आई डोंट एग्जैक्टली रिमेंबर से, इफ 6 सीट्स आर देयर फॉर केरला एंड इफ दे हैव एडेड ओनली 4.9% इन लास्ट 1 डिकेड, एंड इसका अगर आप 4.9% ही बढ़ाते हो, मीन्स सपोज 7 कर देते हो. So if you are increasing Lok Sabha seats in this manner on the basis of population, what you are essentially doing is that you are incentivizing the population increase, right. बिहार ने ज़्यादा population ऐड किया, right, तो आपने ज़्यादा लोकसभा में रिप्रेजेंटेशन दे दिया. केरला ने कम किया तो केरला को आपने डिसइंसेंटिवाइज किया, राइट. तो वाई एनी स्टेट विल प्लेस दिस पॉपुलेशन कंट्रोल मेजर. सभी स्टेट्स अपनी पॉपुलेशन को बढ़ाएंगे ना, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली जो उनकी नेगोशिएटिंग पावर है इन लोकसभा, दैट विल इंक्रीज, राइट. दीज पीपल फ्रॉम कर्नाटका, दीज पीपल फ्रॉम आंध्र प्रदेश, राइट, इनकी जो रीजनल पार्टीज हैं वो क्या करेंगी, वो प्रमोट करेंगे, बोलेंगे पॉपुलेशन बढ़ाओ ना अपना, राइट. बिकॉज पॉपुलेशन अगर बिहार बढ़ा रहा है, पॉपुलेशन उत्तर प्रदेश बढ़ा रहा है, पॉपुलेशन अगर मध्य प्रदेश बढ़ा रहा है, राइट, तो उनको ज़्यादा मिल रहा है लोकसभा में रिप्रेजेंटेशन, और असेंबली सीट भी उनकी बढ़ रही है, राइट. असेंबली सीट बढ़ने से क्या होगा, जो प्रेसिडेंट के इलेक्शन में जो इनकी पावर है, इन स्टेट्स की पावर, वो इंक्रीज होगी. सो अल्टीमेटली व्हाट यू विल सी इज दैट रीजनल पार्टी इन आंध्र प्रदेश, रीजनल पार्टी इन तमिलनाडु, दे विल फ्यूल रीजनलिज्म. ऑलरेडी फाइनेंस कमीशन जब बैठता है तो दे ऑलरेडी ब्लेम कि भाई फाइनेंस कमीशन में जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, फाइनेंस का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का एक पैरामीटर है, दैट इज पॉपुलेशन, right, along with other parameter, that is income distance, right. If you have read this economy, so there are certain parameters on which finance commission decides कि किस state के पास कितना पैसा जाना चाहिए, right. So one of the parameter along with other parameter is population. So already population के basis पे financial जो distribution है वो इन states को already ज़्यादा मिल रहा है, finances from the finance commission recommendation. Now at the political level as well, just because these states have taken population control measures, you are disincentivizing at the political level as well, right. If Lok Sabha seats are increased in proportion of population, what will be the result? Result is that penalizing for population control measures pursued by southern state and incentivizing for increasing population by the northern state, right. That is what we are indirectly saying, right. So reduced, and that will also result in reduced representation in parliament for these states, for these good performing states, for taking control, population control measure, and reduced role in election of president and vice president. And that is the reason, let me tell you, that is the reason why we have frozen these number of seats for the Lok Sabha. Just a moment, right. That is the reason why we have frozen this number of seats for the Lok Sabha until 2026. And here I have taken only this freezing of Lok Sabha seat. At the state level, assembly की भी जो seats हैं वो भी freeze कर दी गई हैं, right. So delimitation commission जो अभी बैठता है, right, वो क्या कर रहा है, population बढ़ रही है, right. Population every decade it is increasing. So delimitation commission का रोल अब क्या रह गया है, सिर्फ इतना. So suppose ये यूपी है, ठीक है, इसको 80 लोकसभा सीट्स मिली हुई है और लोकसभा सीट्स का टेरिटोरियल जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है वो इस मैनर में हुआ पड़ा है, राइट. सपोज ये 80 सीट्स है, 80 टेरिटोरियल वो है, बाउंड्रीज है ना, 1 2 3 4 5 एंड सपोज दिस इज 80th, right? So the only thing delimitation commission it does is right now कि बाउंड्रीज के साथ थोड़ा बहुत डिस्टरबेंस करता है, राइट? सो सपोज इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी की पॉपुलेशन थोड़ी ज़्यादा बढ़ गई और इसकी थोड़ी कम हो गई, राइट? तो इसकी बाउंड्री जो है थोड़ा सा एक्सपेंड कर देगा, राइट? और इसकी बाउंड्रीज थोड़ा सा कम कर दे. सो दैट इज द ओनली जॉब राइट नाउ डेलिमिटेशन कमीशन इज डूइंग, राइट? सो पॉपुलेशन का जो बेसिस जो अभी 87th अमेंडमेंट से किया है, राइट, 2001 कर दिया गया है. सो डेलिमिटेशन कमीशन का जॉब सिर्फ अब इतना रह गया है, राइट? दे कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग विद रिस्पेक्ट टू इंक्रीजिंग द लोकसभा सीट्स और इंक्रीजिंग द असेंबली सीट्स, राइट? होप यू वुड हैव अंडरस्टूड दिस thing, right? Delimitation commission के बारे में. Let us see delimitation commission के powers and delimitation commission के what you call functions, right? So what is the composition of delimitation commission? So composition, this is a 3-member body actually, right? जिसमें जो chairperson है who will be serving and retired judge of Supreme Court who will act as chairperson, then chief election commissioner आपके होंगे, and the third person would be election commissioners of states, right? जिन states में restructuring होनी है, तो असम के लिए अगर होनी है तो असम का एक election commissioner रहेगा, right? अगर JNK में होना है तो JNK. So these two people will remain common, serving and retired judge of Supreme Court, right, who will act as chairperson, and chief election commissioner, right? These two people will remain common. और जिस भी स्टेट के ऊपर रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग के लिए डिसीजन लेना है, राइट, उसका इलेक्शन कमिश्नर, राइट? अगर पार्स की बात करूं, व्हाई आई वाज सेइंग दैट दिस इज अ वेरी पावरफुल कमीशन, देयर orders, whatever order that they'll do, their order has a force of law, right? Simply जो इनके orders हैं वो टेबल तो किए जाते हैं पार्लियामेंट में और स्टेट लेवल पे, जिस भी स्टेट में मतलब इन्होंने चेंजेस रिकमेंड किए हैं उनकी स्टेट असेंबली में, बट स्टेट असेंबली एंड पार्लियामेंट इज नॉट अलाउड टू इंटरफेयर विद द ऑर्डर्स दैट दे हैव पास्ड बिकॉज देयर ऑर्डर इटसेल्फ हैज फोर्स ऑफ लॉ. सो दिस इज हाउ पावरफुल इट इज, राइट? प्रेसिडेंट simply means as soon these people, this commission has passed any order, right, president will decide that on what date their order should be notified into the Gazette of India, right? So the order has force of the law and they can't be altered. Or orders of this commission comes into the force on the date specified by the president. Their report is also tabled in the parliament and state assemblies where delimitation has been impacted, but parliament or the state is not allowed to alter the report. So I hope delimitation commission you would have already understood. Let us see the concept of reservation of the seats in Lok Sabha and assemblies, right? So assembly के बारे में जब हम लोग state discuss करेंगे, then we will discuss. So as far as reservation of seats for the SC brothers and ST brothers is concerned, that has been dealt in Article 330, right? And as far as reservation for these SC and ST brothers is concerned, in pursuance of Article 330 in Lok Sabha, so that reservation is given in line with the population they do have, right? So SC population in our country is somewhere 16 to 17%. So accordingly 84 seats are reserved for SC brothers and accordingly 47 seats are reserved for ST brothers in Lok Sabha, and similarly happens at the state level as well. So उस state में कितनी SC and ST class की population है on that basis, right? And this has been dealt again in article, means at state level as well, right? What will be the reservation, right, that has been dealt in Article 330 itself. So the basis of this reservation in the Lok Sabha or state assembly will be population. So 84 seats for the SCs in Lok Sabha and 47 seats for ST brothers in Lok Sabha, right? Proportionate reservation of seats for SC and ST brothers in assemblies too. So that has been dealt in Article 330. There is one another article, that is Article 334, that discusses the time duration कि ये जो reservation of seats है, right, SC and ST class के लिए वो कितने टाइम तक ऑपरेट करेगा. तो इनिशियली जब कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डिज़ाइन हुआ था, ऑपरेशनलाइज हुआ था, सो दिस रिजर्वेशन वाज टू स्टे ओनली फॉर 10 years, बट बिकॉज कंडीशंस ऑफ SC एंड ST brothers हैज नॉट improved until now, right, and that's why this reservation, this concept of reservation is continuously increasing. So recently this reservation and the time duration of this reservation was increased until 2030, right, by 104th amendment, Act, 104th Amendment Act we already have read, right? So 104th Amendment Act से दो चीजें की गई. The first thing was that SC and ST classes के लिए जो reservation है in Lok Sabha and Assembly, that was extended until 2030 because the last amendment था, उस amendment के according this reservation was extended only to 2020, राइट 2020 में अगर ये 104th अमेंडमेंट हम नहीं लाते, राइट, तो ये रिजर्वेशन जो है इन लोकसभा एंड स्टेट असेंबली कंटिन्यू नहीं हो पाती इन क्लासेस के लिए, राइट. सो 104th अमेंडमेंट वी डू हैव विच अमेंडेड आर्टिकल 334, राइट, और उस आर्टिकल 334 को अमेंड करके हमने बोला है कि भाई ये जो अब ऑपरेबिलिटी ऑफ रिजर्वेशन है ऑफ सीट्स फॉर द SC एंड ST कम्युनिटी एंड एंग्लो इंडियन to remain continue for not 70 years but 80 years अब कर दिया गया है, and not till 2020 but 2030. Second change that we did in article 334 is through this 104th amendment कि जो एंग्लो इंडियन की जो रिक्वायरमेंट, जो नॉमिनेशन की रिक्वायरमेंट थी, राइट, वो डन अवे विद कर दिया गया है. सो ऑल्सो रिजर्वेशन फॉर 2 seats of एंग्लो इंडियन at the Lok Sabha and 1 seat at the assembly level. So that has been done away with by this amendment, 104th amendment. So I hope this reservation का concept आर्टिकल 330 एंड आर्टिकल 334. आर्टिकल 330 कहता है कि भाई पॉपुलेशन के बेसिस पे SC एंड STs का जो रिजर्वेशन है वो लोकसभा एंड स्टेट असेंबलीज में होना चाहिए. आर्टिकल 334 डील्स विद कि कितने टाइम तक ऑपरेशनल रहेगा ये रिजर्वेशन, राइट. सो बाय 104th अमेंडमेंट वी हैव इंश्योर्ड दैट दिस रिजर्वेशन और SC एंड ST कम्युनिटी इन लोकसभा एंड असेंबलीज विल कंटिन्यू अंटिल 2030. और 2030 में फिर से विल असेस दैट whether the condition, whether the situation of this classes has improved and this reservation can be done away from the Lok Sabha and assemblies or not, right. So I hope the concept of reservation would also be understood to you. Let us discuss the special powers of Lok Sabha. So special powers of Rajya Sabha we have already discussed. Now we are discussing special powers of the Lok Sabha. So Council of Minister, although we will say that Council of Minister is collectively responsible to Parliament, so that is a general statement, but specifically speaking they are accountable or they are responsible to the Lok Sabha in particular. Let us read this statement again. Council of Minister is responsible to Parliament in general and Lok Sabha in particular, right? Because article 75, if you remember, article 75 says 75(3) that Council of Ministers should be accountable to the Lok Sabha, to the lower house, right? And that's why no confidence motion जब लाया जाता है, no confidence motion can be moved against Council of Minister only in Lok Sabha because their accountability in particular is towards Lok Sabha, right? Because Lok Sabha में उनको majority prove करनी है, and that's why no confidence motion can never be brought into the Rajya Sabha, right? Money bill can be introduced only in Lok Sabha, right? It cannot be introduced in Rajya Sabha. So these are the special powers of the Lok Sabha. As far as certification of any bill is concerned, whether the bill is money bill or not, so that is done by Lok Sabha Speaker, right? Not by the Rajya Sabha. And once certified that a bill is money bill, Rajya Sabha will have limited power. They can only discuss, they can recommend some changes. They cannot do any kind of voting that okay or any kind of changes in that bill. If they recommend any kind of changes, again it is incumbent only on the Lok Sabha whether Lok Sabha want to accept. So these are the special powers of the Lok Sabha. Special power of the Rajya Sabha under Article 249 and Article 312 we already have discussed. So I hope special power of Lok Sabha would be clear to you. Let us move to the next slide and let us discuss qualification for a member to be chosen as member of parliament, be it Rajya Sabha or be it Lok Sabha. So what should be the eligibility criteria? What qualification? Suppose if I want to contest election either for the Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha, what qualification or what eligibility criteria I need to fulfill in terms of education, in terms of age, in terms of citizenship? What qualification do I need to purchase. So there are actually two sets of qualification, right? One set of qualification has been mentioned in constitution itself, and another set of qualification that is covered right now, I'll let you know, right? So this set of qualification has been mentioned in the law. One statute has been made, and in that statute, that is called Representation of People Act 1951. So in that statute as well, some set of qualification has been mentioned, right? So tomorrow there can be a question that can be designed from this section, and they may say that what set of qualification a member or a person who want to contest election, what set of qualification has been mentioned in the constitution. So you need to know only these conditions, because only these qualifications are mentioned in the constitution, right? These qualification, the other set of qualification that has been mentioned in Representation of People Act 1951, that is not mentioned in constitution. So let us first see that what set of qualification we do have mentioned in the constitution, that is in article 84, if a member want to be chosen as member of parliament, and thereafter we will see that what set of qualification has been mentioned in the law, right? So you have article 84, right, in Indian constitution, which talks about the qualification one person need to possess if he or she wants to be chosen as member of parliament. So whosoever wants to contest election either for Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha, these set of qualification he or she needs to have. So the first qualification is that he or she should be citizen of India, right? Of course, means if you want to be a member of parliament, American or a Pakistani or a Bangladesh cannot be given that right. So he or she should be citizen of India, and this is the common thing either for Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, right? Then he should subscribe to oath recommended by Election Commission of India, right? And what will be the content of oath? Content of oath will be these two lines, that I bear true faith and allegiance into the Constitution of India, and I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India. So that is the oath or subscription he will have to take, and this oath is recommended by Election Commission of India. So first was that he or she should be citizen of India. Second is that he should subscribe to this oath, right? So these two criteria are there. The third criteria is regarding age. So if the person wants to enter into the Lok Sabha, he should be 25 years of the age, that is the minimum age criteria. And if any person is willing to enter Rajya Sabha, if he want to contest election for the Rajya Sabha, he should be of 30 years. Thereafter, third criteria that is mentioned in constitution, the third is actually not criteria. Third portion of this article 84, it empowers parliament to enact any laws. So if tomorrow some situation, means this was the position of constitution when it was operationalized, but they gave option to the coming generation that tomorrow the coming generation, means member of parliament or parliament, can come up with any law with new set of guidelines, that these should also be criteria, right? So that has been mentioned in constitution as well, that other qualification by law made by parliament. So these qualification, as constitutional maker, we are already recommending to you that that person should be citizen, he or she should subscribe to a oath recommended by Election Commission of India. Then what should be the age? And if tomorrow, means 10 year down the line, for 20 year down the line, if you want, means political class or parliament, if you want, means right now I am considering myself to be a constitutional father, right? So I am giving you an option, means parliament, I am giving this option that tomorrow if situation changes, and if you want to issue new set of qualification, you can recommend. And parliament did that in 1951 itself, and it came up with Representation of People Act 1951, right? So in 1951 itself, this constitution was operationalized in 1950, fully operationalized in 1950, and 1 year after that we had this Representation of People Act, right, which came up with new set of qualification. And those new set of qualification is that if any person wants to contest election for Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, he should be registered as voter in any part of India, right? Means he should be registered voter. It's not that you just crossed this what you call 25 years of age for the Lok Sabha election and you will go that okay, I have crossed this to 25 years of age, I am fulfilling this citizen criteria as well, I am your citizen and I am ready to subscribe to this oath as well, so let me contest the election. No, you should be registered voter as well in any part of India. So a Keralite can contest election, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha election in Haryana. A person from Haryana can go to Tamil Nadu, can go to Northeast, right? He can contest election. But the condition is that he should be registered voter in at least one part of India, right? So that is, and the second condition that this what you call Representation of People Act recommended is that in the previous slide when we were talking about the reservation of seats for SC community and ST community, right, we had seen the reservation option. So if any seat has been reserved, so there were 84 seats that has been reserved if you remember, right, for SC community and 47 seats for ST community. So on those reserved seat, if you want to contest election, you need to belong to that community, right, must belong to SC or ST community if he or she, if any person desires to contest from reserved seat. I am again repeating that there are certain qualifications that has been mentioned in the constitution and there are certain qualifications that has been mentioned in a law. So if in prelim they ask you that what are the qualification a person need to possess to become what you call MP in the constitution, then you need to choose only these options, right? Overall that person should have all these qualifications, but if question is asked that what are the qualifications that is mentioned in the constitution for a member to be chosen as member of parliament, then only these these three criteria. I hope this thing would be clear to you, right? Qualification thing. Let us move to the next slide and let us see on what grounds now you have become member of parliament, now you have been chosen as member of parliament, but on what grounds a person, a member of parliament can be disqualified. So grounds of disqualification has been mentioned in Article 102 of Indian Constitution. Similarly, here as well, there are two sets of ground on which a member of parliament can be disqualified. One set of ground has been mentioned in Constitution. Another set of ground has been mentioned in Representation of People Act 1951. That is right now covered. We'll see once we have discussed the grounds of disqualification mentioned in Constitution. Thereafter, we'll shift to other set of qualification as well. So let us take this disqualification grounds mentioned in Article 102 that is mentioned in Constitution one by one, right? So for holding office of profit, so this office of profit concept we have already discussed. You can get back to the playlist and see what this office of profit concept is, right? Let me tell you in short. So if any member of parliament was found to be holding any kind of employment with government of India or state government or local government, that office will be considered office of profit and that can be one of the ground for disqualifying that member of parliament. So for holding office of profit, a member of parliament can be disqualified. The second option is unsound mind. So if some person after being elected, if he was found that that person is mentally challenged, so that can also be a ground for disqualification. Then if that person ceases to be citizen of India, so the time he was elected, he was citizen of India, but 2 years down the line or 1 year down the line, if he takes the citizenship of another country or by any reason, because of what you call disloyalty, by showing the disloyalty to the state of India, right? If his citizenship has been terminated, right, then he will cease to be citizen of India, and that can also be a ground for the disqualification of that member of parliament. Then if any person is undischarged solvent, let us see what is the meaning of undischarged solvent. So actually, suppose a member of parliament, he also happens to have private business, right? So for example, Vijay Mallya, right, he was member of Rajya Sabha, right? So he is running parallelly his own business, right? But he has taken loans from the various banks. Now he has defaulted on the loan. Banks have declared him what you call insolvent, right? That he has defaulted and are loans, right? So he has become insolvent, means he does not have capacity. He has become bank defaulter. If I use a lame word, he has become a bank defaulter. Now what option Vijay Mallya? Vijay Mallya can file a case in Supreme Court and cite his grounds, right, that okay, on so and so grounds I am unable to pay, I have been running in loss and whatever, right? So if as soon bank declares him that he is an undischarged insolvent, means defaulter, right, that can also be a ground for disqualification of that member. However, court can take a decision on this, and if court tomorrow finds, means after filing the case, if court finds that okay, right now the decision on such defaults are taken by IBBI, that is the economic body, right, Insolvency Bankruptcy Board of India, right? So either court or IBBI declares that no, whatever ground that Vijay Mallya cited for not being able to pay the loan, those grounds were correct, right? There were circumstances that he could not pay. So court does have power that court can declare him discharged insolvent, but as soon he has become undischarged insolvent, means as soon bank declared that he, what you call, has become undischarged insolvent, that can be ground for disqualification that we already discussed. The another ground is that Constitution has mentioned in Article 102. Article 102 has empowered again Parliament to enact any law and come up with a new guideline or new set of disqualification criteria, right? So Parliament has been empowered by Article 102 that Parliament in future can come up with any law, right, with new set of disqualification criteria. So Parliament came up with what you call Representation of People Act 1951, and there you do have these many grounds on which a member of Parliament can be disqualified. Not guilty of any election offence, right? So he should not indulge in any kind of activity, right, that can be declared election offence, right? So right now you had what you call one law minister from the Gujarat, right? His candidature was what you call voided by Gujarat High Court for indulging in election offence, right? So Gujarat High Court voids election after 2 years, right? Gujarat High Court voids election when of senior BJP ministers citing malpractices, right? So if you are indulging in any kind of activities that can be put up in election offence category, your election, despite being you have become member of Legislative Assembly, you have become member of Parliament, but if 2 years down the line, 1 year down the line, a case is filed, right, and if you are found guilty, your election candidature can be your candidature as a MP or MLA can be suspended. That has happened. Means just 3 days ago or 4 days ago, this news had come up that Gujarat, you can check your current affair. Then next is if he has done any offence, and in that offence he is sentenced for more than 2 years of the jail or for period of 2 years of the jail, right? In that case as well he will be disqualified, but that should means that offence should result into more than 2 years of the punishment, right? If the punishment is less than 2 years, right, or if he has done any crime, or if he has allegedly done any crime and FIR has been filed, no issues. And even if FIR has been filed, he is under trial, no issues, he will not be disqualified. But as soon he is sentenced, and that sentencing is for more than 2 years, right, then only he will be disqualified, right? So that is one provision in Representation of People Act 1951. If a person fails to lodge the account of election offences, so there is certain rules that Election Commission has mentioned that okay, if you are contesting election of member of Parliament, this is the amount that you should, as an individual candidate, this is the amount that you should spend. If you are fighting contesting election as MLA for the assembly, then this is the amount that you are expected to what you call spend, right? So after election has been over, you are expected to file the account of the election expenses, right? That yes, this is the amount that I have spent it, and that amount should be below 70 lakhs and that amount should be below 28 lakhs if you are fighting for the MP election or if you are fighting for the MLA's election, right? So that account you will have to file, you will have to lodge, right, within a specified period. And if you fails to lodge the account of election expenses, then again that can be a ground for your disqualification, right? Then next, any interest in government contracts, government works, that will lead to ultimately, so if as a member of Parliament, if you are indulging, if you are directly or if you are any of the private company is taking government contract for the road construction or for school management or school building construction or any kind of work, right, where government is involved, even in that case, that may be considered as violation of law and you can be disqualified, right? Then if you are director or MD in the company, in the organization where government involvement or government shareholding is more than 25%, right? Then if you have ever been dismissed from the government services for showing disloyalty towards the state, that can also be a ground for disqualifying a member of parliament. Then if you have ever promoted or if you are promoting enmity between different social groups or different what you call religious group, even that can be ground for disqualifying you, completely contrary to the behavior that our politician in current circumstances are showing, right? And election commission is not taking cognizance of that. Then if you are promoting social evils like dowry or untouchability, right, even in that case, right, that can be a ground for the disqualification, right? So we are wrapping up this video with coverage of this topic. Next topics of the parliament we'll do in the next chapter. Let us see what are the MCQs that are awaiting for you. So these are the MCQs from the previous year prelims question, right? So that you can test yourself that, okay, what knowledge you have gained from this video, right? So this is the first question, second question in 2013, third question in 2012, fourth question in 2012 again, fifth question in 1995, sixth question in 2003, right? So this is the question that has been asked in previous year prelim from Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, and qualification criteria and disqualification criteria that we discussed, right? Other videos will release soon. Till then, bye bye.